I thought I had this table clear.
Oh, yeah, about that. We've received a complaint concerning Roseville Storytime.
A complaint? A complaint from who?
Me.
You? But I thought you were in bed.
Daddy, you told a story about Daniel, Joseph, and Elijah. Where's the girls? I know they're in this book. Just tell it.
Okay, you know what? You're right. Your Barbies actually give me an idea for a different story for Roseville Storytime. But you need to go back to bed.
At least if you tell a Roseville story time about a girl.
Okay. All right. Well, this story starts out with a beauty competition. It was a competition to find a new wife for the king of Persia, King Xerxes. Hello, I am the king of Persia, King Xerxes.
Wait, a beauty contest? A girl can't be judged by how she looks.
Okay, well, I know that, and so does this story. After months of competition, the king settled on a girl. He picked Esther, the Israelite, to be the new queen of Persia. Hello, I'm Esther, your new queen.
Wait, but I've read that even though the Persians ruled over the Israelites, they feared them. The Israelites lived so differently than them.
That's right. God has always expected his people to live differently than the world around them. He's expected them to be set apart so that the world can know more about God.
Then why would the Persian king choose Esther, one of God's people, to be his queen?
Well, that's the really cool thing about Esther's story. God works in all these little ways all throughout the story. Esther, for example, nobody knew that she was an Israelite. God put her right where she needed to be to save his people from complete disaster.
Oh no, what kind of disaster?
Well, as we've already mentioned, the Israelites were feared by the peoples around them. And some people didn't just fear the Israelites, they hated the Israelites. One of those people was one of the king's advisors named Haman. Yo! I'm Haman, and I've got a plot to get rid of all the Israelites.
So what does Esther do? Does she fight Haman?
Well, we can't talk about that quite yet. You see, we need to talk about some of the little things that God was doing. In particular, a small thing that God did on a sleepless night for the king and the king's scribe. Oh, scribe, I cannot sleep unless I read or hear a good story. Will you read from my royal diary? Why, yes, king. Today I was saved by an Israelite named Mordecai. He just happened to be one of Esther's relatives. He stopped a plot that would have made me lose my throne. Oh, those Israelites! I think they're so great.
Wow, that is awesome. So did Esther know how God was working?
No, she actually didn't know about all the little things that God was doing in order to protect his people.
So she didn't know about the king's sleepless night, or that he was reminded of how he had been saved by an Israelite named Mordecai.
That's right. All that Esther knew was the part that she had to play in God's plan. That was befriending the king, and then once she got into his good books, exposing Haman's evil plot.
Well, that doesn't sound too scary.
Well, except that the king had a law back then that if you came into his presence without being called, if he was in a bad enough mood, he could have you killed, even if you were the queen.
Ooh, so what happened next?
Well, the queen Esther did the right thing, and she came to the king anyway. And the king saw her, and he was excited to see her. But she didn't tell about Haman right away. Instead, she invited the king and Haman to a bunch of dinner parties, and they were having a really good time and having lots of fun. And on the night of the last party, Queen Esther finally exposed the plot of Haman. Oh, king, save us! Save me and the other Israelites, because I'm an Israelite too. Haman wants to get rid of all of us! So, Haman, you want to get rid of all the Israelites, including my queen? I'm going to get rid of you! Hi-ya! Oh.
That's incredible. God worked to prevent disaster by making Esther queen. Esther didn't know about all the little things God was doing. She just needed to trust God in the part that he gave her to play to protect God's people. King Xerxes even noticed how different God's people were, and God helped him see that as a good thing.
That's right. The story of Esther reminds us that we need to know our part in God's plan, even if we don't know all of the details of God's plan. It also reminds us that we need to be different from the world around us so that the world can know more about God. Maybe those are some things that our viewers at home can discuss in this next week.
And you can tell your complaints to. You can tell your ideas to Pastor Andrew.
That's right. Thanks for joining us this week for Roseville Storytime. Join us next week for more. Bye now.